Hello YouTube, welcome to my playthrough of Broken Sword, The Shadow of the Templar. That's it, let's get to it. There we go, and now we go back to Nico's apartment.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, Josh.
We shall continue on with this next part. So this next part, we're going to talk to Nico about what we found so far and what Nico's been doing.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, Josh.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking?
Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times. Warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his rolling. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
Instantly defensive. Okay, let's go through some items that we found and see what she says about them. We'll start with the matchbook.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue. A name or an address? That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir.
And we'll go into the electric card.
I found this in the killer's room.
What is it? A credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
And finally the manuscript, which is going to push us into the next chapter of the story. So right now we're investigating murders. We're going to find out a little bit more of a deeper connection.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the U-boot.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantar?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh yeah, maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Remember that name.
So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Okay, so let's talk about or inspect the manuscript.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Okay, so now we are able to inspect it.
Look there, 2 guys on the same horse.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
So now we have a new location to go and see. And interact and all that good stuff.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobino at the Krone Museum.
Alright, so we'll head over to the Crew Museum and we'll check that place out. Excuse me. Okay, let's head on in. Let's talk to this fella.
Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobino?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobino does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it there. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Let's ask him about the manuscript.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar, not like Monsieur Lobino.
And see if he knows anything about the Knights Templar.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
Not a sausage. See if he's got anything to say about any of the items that we have in our inventory.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
Oh, no. I don't frequent places like that.
Do you recognize this ID pass?
No.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. Is there any reason why I should?
I guess not. Do you recognize this red nose?
I don't think so.
What do you make of this tissue?
It is Absolutely disgusting, monsieur.
What does this tool mean to you?
That belongs in a museum.
Pardon?
It is a priceless historical artifact, if I am not mistaken.
No, it's a plain old tool for lifting drain covers.
Let's see if he'll shake our hand.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
So now we can inspect the
In the
tripod.
case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited.
So now we just got our boost, which is going to give us another conversation piece to Nico. So we're going to go back to the apartment and we're going to go and talk to her about Ireland.
Hi, I've been to the Crew Museum.
Did you speak to Lobineau?
No, he wasn't there.
Okay. So if we talk about the manuscript, it's just going to open up the manuscript to inspect again. So we're not going to do that. We'll start with the tripod.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marne.
I have heard of Loch Marne. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marne. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a fourth series of his popular television program. This site at Loch Marne must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's gem is important, why don't you visit Loch Marne?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly?
Typical American mentality. Nothing about Europe. And that goes for all Americas, not just US.
Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clan's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
We know that from the coded messages. Okay, so let's back
I
out.
have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
And we just opened up Ireland. So that's going to be our next step in the story. A few hours
I
later.
passed the castle on the way into Loch Marne. The castle where Pegram's excavation was located.
So before we talk to this lad, it reminds me of somebody.
Hi there.
What?
What's your name, kid?
Who are you calling kid? Who the hell are you?
Talks like somebody I know too.
I'm George Stobart, and I'm with the good guys.
You're a head case, mister. A few sandwiches short of a picnic.
Cut the crap and tell me your name.
Liam McGuire.
What are you doing hanging around the bar, McGuire?
I'm on the run. From me dad.
Why? Did you do something bad?
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine. Chopped firewood for Father Mahoney till me fingers bled. The old skinflint cheated me too. But I took the pennies he gave me back home. Look, Ma, says I, see what your darling son has earned with his own sweat and blood. When suddenly, me dad appears and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin, heavy drinking, says he. Watch out till I get back. That's why I runned away.
Something in the grin on his face told me he wasn't being strictly truthful. Compared to him, Huckleberry Finn was a candidate for Altar Boy of the Year. What can you tell me about the castle, McGuire?
What do you want to know?
Well, can I get inside?
No, it's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No. Only, what do you want to know? Oh, nothing.
You know something about the castle you're not telling me, don't you?
No,
What is it you're covering up? Is it something you're scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing.
I'll give you one last chance to tell me about the castle.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't?
Then I'm taking you back to school.
Oh, there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom of Loch Man.
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts, are you?
Mister, I seen it with me very own eyes. Last Tuesday night, I went up to see what that dig was about. I just reached the top of the wall when I hears this awful noise.
What sort of noise?
A horrible snuffling and snorting, like O'Brien's pig, only worse. It was coming from inside the castle.
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. The moon was cracked and greasy like an old dinner plate. The yard was full of shadows. I could have been hiding anything. I would have gone home, but my legs had lost their stuffing.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey and tattered and hunched over like an old bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared. Why, I fell off the bloody wall.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what you saw at the castle.
There is. The bloody place is haunted.
See if he knows anything about any costume killers.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
Here in Lochmarn, they all dress like clowns.
The man I'm looking for is a dangerous psychotic.
Jesus. It's just like that film I saw. There's this clown, see? And he's after this kid who saw him kill a guy. He tries to warn the sheriff, only no one believes him. Then, while he's in the tub, the clown cuts him up with a chainsaw.
My God, that doesn't sound suitable for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're not a day over 14.
Oh no, it's 25 that I am. Married with a car and 3 kids. 10 kids if you count the wives.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Can you describe him like on the telly in the cop shows?
He's an English archaeologist.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
Can you tell me where I'd find Pegram?
No, I can't, because he's not here now. But if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure. Jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
Have you ever seen this man before?
What a slimy character. No, I never seed him.
Do you recognize this matchbook, McGuire?
No, sir, I never seed it before in my life.
Ever heard of Thomas Merlin or the Gruber Electronics Corporation?
No.
Okay, so that's
See you later, kid.
pretty much going to
Okay, mister.
exhaust with Mr. Maguire here, the embellisher, the storyteller, the little Irish kid on the corner of a pub. go in and see what's going on inside. Okay, let's go talk to these fellas on the end.
Hello there. My name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure. I'm O'Brien. Can I help you?
Have you heard of the Phantom?
More than that. I've seen it. And let me tell you, it's a dreadful spectacle.
So it's not just a local legend. There really is a Phantom of Lochmarn.
Oh no, I was talking about the Phantom of the Opera.
Anything about the Knights Templar?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar?
I most certainly have. A remarkable institution. Did you know? They were the originators of our system of credit. Their financial empire stretched from the Atlantic to the Caspian Sea. With bases in so many countries, they had to establish new methods of fiscal transfer.
So, the Knights Templar were nothing but a bunch of bankers.
I don't get it. Are you saying these Templar guys invented bank charges?
In a manner of speaking, I suppose they did.
What a dirty trick. Didn't anyone try to stop them?
Oh yes, they were arrested and many were burnt at the stake.
Good. They bloody well deserved it if they were anything like my bank manager.
There's probably a lot of people that are in the same mindset.
What can you tell me about the castle, Mr. O'Brien?
It's a fine sight now, isn't it? Dates back to the 10th century, you know. Most of the existing building was added much later, of course.
Are the ruins open to the public?
Oh no, it's much too dangerous. Anyway, there's nothing of interest remaining.
How can I get into the castle?
Well, those walls were built specifically to stop people getting in, Mr. Stobart. But I dare say
Hence the castle.
you'll find a way, if you've the will.
Can you tell me about the tripod which was found at the castle?
Now, there's a bone of contention and controversy. It was dug up by an Englishman of the archaeological persuasion.
Who was this Englishman?
Professor Pegram, the same man who dug up the gem.
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
You're too late to meet that fella.
Is he dead?
Not that, but he's gone from the village. A sore point with our esteemed host, I might add.
Do you know where Pegram is gone?
I'm sorry, but I don't. He upped anchor in the dark and shipped out before the dawn.
Why did he do that?
Who knows? A guilty conscience or a secret assignation. Whatever the reason, he'll not be missed in Lochmarn. Maybe now the fuss about the gem has died down, we can get back to normal.
So that's the bartender, by the way. And he's aggrieved. That's why he came up in conversation.
What can you tell me about the gem which Pegram found?
Now there's a gem which should never have been taken. A man would have to be full of greed to covet that stone. What's your interest in the jewel? You're not a reporter, are you?
Oh no.
Thank the Lord for that.
Okay, let's chat about why him and Pegram don't... The bartender and Pegram don't like each other.
Why has Pegram's departure upset the landlord?
He's lost a paying guest, that's why. More than that, there's the question of an unsettled bill. Poor Michael's seen red over the business, and I don't blame him.
Can you tell me more about the landlord?
Mick Leary? He's what you call a would-be sophisticate. The trouble is, his idea of sophistication extends as far as putting paper in the lavatory.
I never worked out why he did that. It's much too dark in there to read.
That's true. Have you ever run your hand over the back of the door? The graffiti is written in Braille.
Okay, let's go through some items.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Nope, I've never seen him before.
Does this red nose suggest anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
What do you make of this tissue?
I guess that muck on it is grease paint.
He's a clever guy.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The design is Middle Eastern, I'd say.
He's a clever guy.
Goodbye for now.
And then let's talk to his pal.
Hi, my name's Stobart, George Stobart.
Hello there, mister. What can I do for you?
Do you know Professor Pegram?
Do I know him? Do I know the good professor himself? No, I don't. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know him to talk to.
Do you know anything about Pegram's excavation?
Only that he didn't have the right tools for the job. What he needed was shovels and a JCB.
Pegram was digging for historical remains, not coal.
Is that a fact? What the hell for?
It's the science of archaeology, Pat. Understanding how people used to live by what they've left behind. One day archaeologists might be digging up our remains.
Imagine that, Mr. O'Brien. I wonder what they'll find.
Well, it won't be arrowheads and beakers. Fast food cartons and flavored condoms, more likely.
Did anyone from the village work at Pegram's dig?
I tried it myself, but that high and mighty history man called me incontinent. What a nerve. Hadn't I dug more holes than the rest of them put together?
Can you tell me anything about the castle on the hill?
Oh, I don't know much about anything. You should ask Mr. O'Brien here. He just joined up writing. Would you be one of them history fellows yourself?
That's right. Professor Stobart, Miskatonic University.
You're an archaeologist, and you're asking us about the castle.
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien. The gentleman was talking to me. How come you didn't leave with the others?
I didn't know they'd gone.
Oh, yes. Packed their spades and shovels and away they went.
Seems I missed all the excitement.
What excitement?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
It's a handsome mug on that fella, to be sure. Is he a film star?
Do you recognize this matchbook?
No.
Fair enough.
Bye for now.
Okay. We'll talk to the landlord now.
Top of the morning to you.
I beg your pardon.
Well, that's what you Irish say, isn't it?
Do you want something? Or are you just flaunting your xenophobia?
Well, I was trying to be sociable.
Is it a room you're after?
Nah.
No, thank you. I don't plan to stay too long.
Who does? Most folk take one look at Lochmarden and jump back on the bus.
Does he know anything about any costume killers, do you think?
Have you served any, clowns recently?
No. You're the first today.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Indeed I do. Are you a friend of his, by any chance?
Oh, no. I'm just trying to track him down.
Me too. That son of a bitch should be locked away.
Did Pegram stay here?
Yes, he did. 6 nights plus breakfast.
I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your first pint of real ale?
Well, I guess so. What's real ale, anyhow?
Beer that's brewed from natural ingredients to traditional methods. It shouldn't be kept under pressure or refrigerated. And finally, it should have a good body and distinctive character.
In other words, it's flat and worn with bits in, and it makes you fall over.
That's how beer should be.
Do you recognize this man?
No, I don't. What do you want with him?
I've got a score to settle.
I don't want any trouble in the bar, mister. If it's a fight you're looking for, see Father Mahoney.
A priest? A man of the cloth?
Sure. And he teaches the boys how to box at the youth club. According to Mahoney, it develops character. Isn't that right, Pat? Didn't he teach you the art of pugilism? Dial.
Sorry, Michael. I was miles away. What did you say?
Never mind.
Been in that situation before.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
No, sir.
Okay.
Look, I gotta be going.
We'll check out the rest of the people in the bar after we pick up the bar mat on the corner.
It was a beer-stained piece of toweling.
We'll need that. We'll talk to this fella right here.
My name's George.
Pleased to meet you, mister. My name's Fitzgerald.
What can you tell me about the castle?
There's nothing there. Just an old ruin.
How old?
I really couldn't tell you.
Have you ever explored the castle yourself?
I used to play there sometimes, when I was a kid. Then one of the little ones fell off the wall, broke his head and died. We didn't go there anymore.
You haven't been up there recently?
No.
Do you know Professor Pegram?
He's the archaeologist, isn't he?
That's right. Did you work at Professor Pegram's dig?
What gave you that idea?
Can I get you another drink?
Oh, no thank you. I shouldn't be drinking at all. I'm on tablets for my nerves. More than a pint and I'll pass out.
Alright, so
See you
he's
later.
a little bit nervous. Let's find out why he's nervous, maybe. The bartenders know everything.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Maybe not him.
Look, I gotta be going.
Maybe Mr. O'Brien here.
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien.
Hello there. What now?
Yeah, so he's got some information on the jittery guy. So let's check out, see what he's got to say.
Do you know Sean Fitzgerald?
Yes, I do. What you want with him?
I want to talk to him about working at the dig.
I can't imagine anyone employing Sean Fitzgerald on a dig. He wouldn't know a post hole from his elbow.
So he knows nothing.
Goodbye for now.
Let's go see if Mr. Maguire outside has anything to say.
Hey, McGuire.
What?
Do you know anything about Pegram's dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off. I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram brought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarn would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald says he's never been anywhere near the dig.
He's having you on, mister.
Alright, so
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
do we believe the kid? Or do we believe the jittery guy at the bar? Let's have a look.
Mr. Fitzgerald? McGuire says he saw you working at the dig. What's more, he saw you talking with Pegram.
I knew this would happen. I knew I'd get caught.
I need to talk to Professor Pegram, if he's still alive.
What do you mean? Is he in danger?
Yeah, you too, if I'm right.
You're not from the Social Security.
Hell no. What makes you think that?
Well, I was claiming benefit at the same time I was working for Pegram.
I'm not in a position to make judgments, Sean. That's between you and your conscience. All I want is to talk to Pegram about the gem.
But he's not here.
I know that. But he left that package with you, didn't he?
Ooh, it's getting deeper.
So where did Pegram go?
I don't know. I swear it. He came to see me early this morning. Said he was leaving. He asked me to give this package to a guy called Marquet.
Show me what's in the package, Sean.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I promised the professor.
So what? You didn't have any qualms about your benefit scam. So where's the harm in taking a peek inside Pegram's package?
You don't know these people. I can't. I don't dare.
This is your last chance to show me the package, Fitzgerald. I've been patient with you, but now it's time to kick ass.
But he'll kill me.
Who will?
The man from Paris. Jack Marquet. Pegram told me if I gave him the package unopened, I'd hear no more about it. But if I double-crossed Marquet, I'd be dead.
Who's this Marquet fella?
I'll deal with Jacques Marquet. Give the package to me.
No. Why should I trust you? I don't know who to trust anymore. I wish I'd never even heard of the Lochmarn gem.
That doesn't sound good.
Hey, I just seen a big red...
Get out of here, McGuire. Come back when you're old enough.
What's the lad howling about?
A big red sports car. Sean Fitzgerald's been runned over.
Get out! Noisy little tyke.
Maybe you should send out some medicinal brandy maker.
Oh, yes. And who's going to pay for it?
Not me.
Me too, neither.
Well, the guy gets run over outside of a bar, and nobody seems to give a rat's bottom.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here, minding my own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill. Would you look at that, says I. And I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on my ass. But the car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and hit him an awful wallop. He goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I thought he was a goner. Next thing, the driver hops out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
So we've got our next costumed.
Hey, McGuire.
What?
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit?
I didn't see. It all happened so fast.
Maybe the package fell somewhere out of sight. See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Okay.
Look, I gotta be going.
So we're gonna go and talk to this fella. Because he's playing with something.
Hi there, old timer.
What?
You see that?
Nasty cold you've got there. As soon as the words left my lips, I regretted them.
Is there such a thing as a cold which isn't nasty? I put the question to Father Mahoney. Father, says I, why were we born to suffer snot?
What did he say?
He said, it's my reward for being out all night like a sinner. Pious prig. Anyway, this is no ordinary cold. 'Tis the hay fever.
Pollinosis?
Thank you. You're not a policeman, are you?
Excuse me?
Police? No. I'd know it if you were.
Can you tell me how to get into the castle?
Don't even think about it, me bucko. Lochmarn Castle is haunted.
That's what the kid outside told me, but I don't believe it.
Then you're a fool.
Ghosts don't bother me. I still want to visit that castle.
You can't. It's not open to the public.
There's no one around to stop me, is there?
That's right. Nothing human, anyhow.
Have you ever seen the ghost?
To be sure. With me very own eyes.
Can you describe the ghost?
It was horrible. A wee stunted beast, long beak, straggly, flappy wings.
Are you sure it wasn't a wild animal? A rabbit or a skunk or something?
Skunk? In Lochmarn? That'll be the day. No, that was a ghost, to be sure.
To be sure, to be sure?
I think I know what you saw on the castle wall.
Joke.
I know what I saw.
I don't think so. It was the kid, McGuire.
What?
He was up on the wall last Tuesday night. He thought you were the Phantom of Lochmarn.
Oh.
Can I buy you a beer?
Very kind, I'm sure. But I don't drink the stuff Leary sells.
What's wrong with it?
I've seen what it can do.
Do you know Pegram, the archaeologist?
That's the scrawny fellow who was poking around at the castle, isn't it? No, I don't know him.
I'm looking for Sean Fitzgerald. Have you seen him?
Never heard of him.
Don't you come from around here?
None of your business. I didn't ask where you come from, did I?
I'm from California.
That's your problem.
Did you ever see Fitzgerald at Pegram's Dig?
I never heard of either of them.
What's that you're making?
It's a necklace, me bucko.
Oh, sure. Made out of steel wire?
That's right. A necklace for my pretty one. When my little lover feels it round her slender neck, she'll be mine. All mine.
Piece of steel wire around her neck. Anyway,
I'll see you later.
we need it. We're gonna take it. So see how he's left it there and he's sneezing all over me? When he pushes away and he's fiddling, before he sneezes he'll put it down and we'll snag it. We need him to sneeze again. There you go. He'll take that. Put it down to sneeze.
As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed this piece of wire.
There we go. And that's that for that bit anyway. Yeah. Don't sneeze like that on your own drink or somebody else's drink. Or pick up stuff that people have been sneezing on. That's kind of nasty. Yeah. Anyway, let's see if we can go behind the bar here.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Excuse me?
No customers behind the bar. Ever.
So, if you noticed on that little video that happened before, that glinty thing that fell down, it's under the bar. So we need to figure out a way to go under the bar. So how we're going to do that is by drinking him dry.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honored fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar, utilizing the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven.
So
Look,
back out.
I gotta be going.
Talk to him
Excuse
again.
me?
Yes, sir?
Hey, how about another drink?
Same again?
Do you serve cocktails?
I'll serve anyone with manners. And money.
No, I'm serious. Have you considered turning McDevitt's into a cocktail bar? Cocktails are chic, cool, and popular with younger drinkers.
What? Kids in the bar? Can you imagine it? Pinball, pimples, and puke.
Oh, right, I get the picture. I'll settle for a glass of stout. Look, I gotta be going. Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
Give me another beer, dude. Give everyone another beer. Let's party, guys.
I think you've had enough, don't you?
Hey, listen. Is it supposed to taste the way it does?
Gopeline stout is brewed from the finest chemicals in the world.
Look, I gotta be going.
I'm pretty sure I had to drink him.
I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand.
Okay, maybe it's that I was supposed to do.
Get.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
More beer over here!
I think you've had enough, don't you? I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
I could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh, well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my dear, is it?
It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials.
Well, no. Isn't that marvelous? Here's a house bedeviled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer.
So now we let us in behind the bar. But not down. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the plug.
I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug.
We're going to use the wire on the plug.
I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half pint to that man on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
Well, I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on me hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
Down there somewhere, he says.
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen.
So, dark area, just like at the start of the game, can't do nothing because it's so dark. So we'll go back up and out. And we'll try and open this by hand. There we go.
I lifted the trap door and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Look who it is.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Very ominous. So we'll go back in and back down. Now we have some light.
Now I could see. I spotted Mr. Leary's flashlight easily. Then I noticed a flash of light. Something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire. I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way. You're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari.
Alright, so we're going to do a little bit of prep here. We're actually going to open this up, grab the beer mat, and then we're going to actually turn on the tap first. But we need to get it wet.
The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water.
And we're going to wet our beer towel. And George is going to put it back in his pocket like an absolute weirdo.
I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water.
Let's turn it off.
I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping.
We'll actually leave here and walk out the door. Easy as that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this path and it'll take us to the castle. And as you can see, this fella's just reading a book. Let's have a chat.
Hi, do you speak English?
Well, now,
What if I was to say no? An implication of cognizance shrouded in denial. A pretty poser of a paradox indeed.
I gave him the look I'd perfected when I was 12 and was going to be the greatest hypnotist of all time. It was a killer.
Are you attempting to hypnotize me, or is it the constipation you're suffering?
I was a little out of practice.
Alright, let's see. Any answers he's got for us?
What can you tell me about the castle?
Not much, I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Have you seen Professor Pegram?
No, he's packed up and gone.
Do you happen to know where?
Back in England, I suppose.
Did you happen to see a red sports car down on the road?
I caught a glimpse of a flash of red on the hill and heard the racket. Sure, it was an awful noise. A sports car, you say?
A Ferrari, to be exact.
A racing car? And what was it doing here? The poor fella must have been lost.
The driver of the Ferrari was involved in an accident.
Is that so?
Yeah. He knocked somebody down outside the bar.
What an idiot! How could a thing like that happen?
He was traveling too fast.
So fast, he ran right under the car?
I mean, the car was traveling too fast.
But you'd have thought the idiot could have heard it coming.
Maybe you know the guy who was hit by the Ferrari. His name is Sean Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know him all right. That's me nephew. The idiot responsible for the stacking of my hay cart. Was he killed by the car?
Oh, no. But he has been abducted.
Well, that's a relief now.
Jesus.
Aren't you going to look for your nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too late.
Well, you could report the matter to the police.
Better not. Besides, what could they do?
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the one bicycle between them. In a question of superior acceleration, I put me money on the Ferrari.
I think you ought to know exactly what Sean has gotten himself into.
I'm not sure I want to know.
But you're his uncle. His own flesh and blood.
You're right, but what can I do? If I'm not here to guard it, some idiot might try to climb the haystack. What a moral dilemma. Stay here and guard this potentially lethal agricultural construction, or to go off in search of the prodigal nephew, the very man responsible for said hazard. It'll need some thinking about.
Why, there's no problem.
You're right. Why didn't I think of it before? We'll demolish the haystack.
You don't have to demolish the haystack to go look for Sean. I'll stay here in your place and warn anyone who's silly enough to climb it.
Marvelous! I think I should start me inquiries in the bar.
That's funny.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay.
No contemplation. We're going up.
The stack of hay stopped, short of the top of the wall. Even if I stretched as far as I could, the wall was out of reach. What I needed was a slice or two of Alice's Wonderland.
Or we could get our manhole opener and stick it in the wall.
I inserted the end of the lifting key in the mortarless crack and gave it a firm shove. It remained lodged in the wall, jutting out to form a step.
So, fun fact. This puzzle is probably one of the most hardest puzzles, because it was almost nearly impossible to do in the original game. It was possible. A lot of people did it. But not a lot of people knew how until they released the answer on how to do it, because it was so out there. Yeah, so this evil goat right here was the bane of many who played Broken Sword 1. Google it, YouTube it, and you'll see why. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to quickly move this.
The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare.
So normally what would happen is you would try and go for the ladder, and the goat would come for you, but then you quickly click on the this plow thing, and then he'd run back over quickly as the goat would move towards the ladder, and then he would move it, and then the goat would move over here and get trapped. But they changed it, where you could actually go over and move it, and the goat wouldn't hit you until you moved it. Very big patch. Very big patch. But now the goat's trapped, we can go down the ladder without the goat hitting us. So those cheap books that I was mentioning earlier about my grandmother hoarding, it was in one of those cheap books, and which is how she knew how to do it. In turn, which taught me how to do it. Yeah. First thing we're going to do is actually pick up some plaster in this little section right here. This is a bag of plaster, by the way.
As I dipped my fingers into the soft white powder, I realized what it was. Plaster of Paris. I'd used it in kindergarten to make casts of animal paw prints.
Okay, everyone go and inspect this little panel right here.
I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened.
And we'll look at this little statue right here. So as you can see, Knights Templar, and then you have the pattern on the back right there. So we can pick it up. And
The statue was too heavy to lift. It overbalanced into the sand.
And we're picking back up again. So if you noticed already,
As I swung the stone upright, I noticed it had left a pattern of holes in the sand.
so the pattern of holes right here, okay, they match the holes in the panel where he put his fingers and thumb in. Same thing. So from there, generally, you put the plaster in it and try and make a mold out of it.
I sprinkled the plaster on the sand until the holes were filled.
And if you hadn't have done it in the bar, now you have to go back, pick up the beer mat, and use the tap in the cellar, because that's where your water is going to come from. Black water.
A trickle of
by the way.
water was quickly absorbed by the plaster.
Okay, and now we can pick it up. It dried that
I
quick.
eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue.
And with that little key, which is right here, we'll actually pop it in the wall. Easy.
The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
There we go. And we'll go down and check it out. Thank you guys for watching this Broken Sword episode. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to see some more Broken Sword story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification button when it does come on live. If you've got any feedback, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please leave it in the comments down below. If you'd like to see some more live content, please hit me up on one of these live pages when I go live. I have different content for different channels. And at the end of the day, YouTube, don't just be cool. Be downright